There we go. How you doing? No stalling for today. I got my notification and I'm ready to go. So, welcome. Make sure this volume's up. It's not. Welcome to the Troy Grab Experience. Daddie's Lounge. I can't see nothing. Daddie's Lounge, episode number 53. Episode number. Okay, I did my checks. Number 53, one number away from my age. Let me turn this way so the light doesn't become the main character in the podcast instead of the main character in the podcast, which is me. All right, I gotta get a light. I'll take care of it. So, how you doing, everyone? The title is my birthday was the 16th, yeah, which was Saturday. Today's Monday, but I'm still celebrating life. That's why the title says "Happy Birthday," and I miss those days. So what you see is a current picture of me, and then you have a picture of me about 12 years ago, maybe. Yeah, maybe it was 12 years ago, something like that. 12 years ago, and a whole lot bigger than those three handsome boys they mine. We would just come back from church. It was Easter, I think. We were either headed, yeah, we were headed to church because it was early. We were headed to church. So, but here I am, celebrating life for another year, and just I was just on the phone before I got on here with my oldest son. We used to love watching the Fighting Temptations with Cuba Gooding Jr., uh, Beyonce, Mon- Montel Griffin. No, not Montel Griffin. The singer. What was his name? Montel, the singer. Not Griffin's the fighter. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. And who else was in there? Oh boy, the comedian whose name escapes me right now. He was in the Fridays. He took over for a brother who was on there. He took. Yeah, what is the brother's name? That's terrible. But yeah, that's the show we used to watch all the time. Why I'm for Mike Epps. Wow, Mike Epps. Exactly. His name is Mike Epps. Yeah, Mike Epps, Cuba Gooding Jr. Oh, and the brilliant brother he was a detective on The Wire. He uh he was in Stella Got a Groove Back. Oh my gosh. Yeah. A lot of talented people. And then Samuel L. Jackson's wife was in there whose name I forget. So yeah, I mean, it was a good film, good family film, and on those days when we couldn't go out because it was raining or old man was just tired, we would just eat, and then I'd give them a choice of movies to watch. They would always pick Fighting Temptations or The Wiz or Lion King, one of them three out of all the films, and sometimes The Temptations. We loved the Temptations, so we watched that, especially when it was thunderstorming. We would just put out three movies to watch. Eventually, them jacks would fall asleep. So we'd be like I said, bring the mattresses if you want to sleep. As a weekend, bring the mattress. We could. I didn't want to unplug the DVD because they had their game hooked on upstairs, and so the DVD was downstairs. So I said, okay. Now that I think about it, I played it in their game. What am I talking about? So yeah, and they would just go to sleep sometimes close to the end of the movie, and that rain helped. But anyway, that's I just had to tell a story before I started. So a little bit about me today and my journey, and here I am, 54 years later, just thanking the good Lord, man. And they came along with the journey now. Don't think that they weren't there. I'll never stop being a father. The journey is a beautiful thing, man. But just a little bit about it. I'll only give you 2 years of it. so you can get a little bit of what I'm gonna get a feel of what I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna give you the long drawn out thing in the whole album, but 2 years ago, I walked into the hospital in Washington D.C. Lived in Baltimore. I was born with a aortic stenosis. If y'all know what it's a hereditary heart condition. All right. And when I walked in there, I thought it was just going to be for a regular checkup. I had to go to D.C. from Baltimore. So they told me if you would have came in an hour later, they had to put a balloon in my neck. Y'all know what that is. If you're in the medical field, they basically had to put a balloon in my neck so I could stay alive. They said if I was a half an hour or hour later, I wouldn't be here. I would have died. That was in May. I didn't leave the hospital till August. I had to learn how to walk, and then they told me that my heart was failing. I was only operating at 15%, or probably less than that. So they told me they had to put this pump in my heart called an LVAD, which is a left ventricle assistance device. And then I remembered all that. And my son came to see me, my oldest one, and the other two I spoke to them really on the phone. But he came and he was out of whack seeing me like that. That's the bad part when you at your weakest and they have to see you. It breaks you down and breaks them down. So in that hospital, I was told I was going to die more than once, probably three times. That was in 2002, right? So I get out in August, and I just didn't want to stay in Baltimore no more. I didn't believe I was trying to get on the heart transplant list. I didn't want to be there. This journey is just because it's my birthday, and it has to do with fatherhood and the journey from the last 2 years. So I didn't want to be there, so I left. Told my kids, I'm not running away from you. You're old enough, you're teenagers. You're gonna be staying with your mom at the house. So she moved back into the house, I should say. And they stayed with her, and I left. And then I got here to where I'm at right now, and I got on the heart transplant list. And I kept having to go back and forth to the heart failure clinic, which was good because they had a cardiac gym in there and I got to work out and all that. I did that, right? I felt good actually. I lost some weight. I was feeling a little stronger. And then a year had passed and my pump started failing after 1 year. But remember, I got it in 23 and here it is 2024. That's a lie. I got it in 22 and it started failing in 2000. Wait, back up. Before that, I got sick and I dropped all the way down to like 190 from I was 215 and 205, so 190. And the same thing they told me if I didn't come in, I would have waited another day. I had a fever. Some kind of virus had got into my system from when they put the LVAD in there. This was a year later. This was 23. And it basically was killing me from the inside. So I had to stay in the hospital for maybe a month that time. Remember, I shrunk down to 191 at that point. Smallest I've been in years. So after that, year passed, everything seemed good, but I couldn't sleep. And my LVAD, my pump kept going off. There's an alarm for faulty this, faulty that. So it kept going off. So they rushed me to the hospital and they said that my pump was failing because it was corroded, which is natural, right? But if it kept doing that, I would die. See, that word just keeps coming up, right? So then they were like, "We're gonna send you back to DC." I said, "The hell if you're not. The hell you're not. I'll die if you send me back to DC. I literally would die. I won't go back there." So they sent me to Duke, right? And I was there for from June to August. They repaired my heart pump. But here's what happened that I always remember. My mom and my father was in the room, and the heart transplant surgeon was there, and he's like, "Hold on, I got a heart coming for you in 1 week or 5 days." Right? The surgeon was there for the pump, and he looked at him and said, "You won't need that heart in 5 or 7 days because he's going to die today if we don't have this surgery." No remorse, no nothing. He just let him know straight up, telling me too. And my mom left the room crying, and here I am dealing with that. I'm going to die again. Hell of a journey, and that's just 3 years. So that's 24. I went in June and I left in August. In August. So I get out in August. I get a call saying they have a heart for me, right? But it was an issue with the heart. The person who had it prior, his heart was a drug user, and it might have some issues. And I'm like, no, I don't want that heart. He said, "You sure? It might take some time for you to get another heart." I said, "Look, I'd rather it done right than have it done fast." He's like, "Okay, Mr. Graham." Called me back about a week later. He was like, "We got a heart for you, but you got to be there tomorrow morning." I'm like, "Tomorrow morning?" He's like, "Yeah." So I said, "Okay, then. Tomorrow morning it is." My mom came, got me up there, and that's all I remember. That was in August. I didn't wake up again till September 9th, and somebody had to tell me the date. I did not wake up because I went up there like late August, August 20 something or whatever, right? And when I woke up, it was September something, and I didn't even remember where I lived. I don't remember how I got there. I didn't know where I was, right? And so I stayed in there from August until November, right? I had to learn how to walk again. I couldn't even go to the bathroom by myself. Powerful. And my memory, and I kept passing out. Like I would wake up and there'll be about seven doctors around me. And I'm like, "What happened?" Said, "You passed out." I said, "I don't remember all that." And I kept passing out. And there was something with my blood pressure shooting up and all that. So they just had to keep me in there, had me hooked up for this machine and all of that. But I can't tell you how many times I passed out because I lost my memory each time. And then finally, I started to learn how to walk again, which was, woo. First of all, it wasn't about learning how to walk. I had to be able to stand on my own because I collected so much fluid in my system that I was about 280 pounds. When I came in there, I was 239, but now it's 280 because of all the fluid. So I had to deal with that. So, they got some fluid off me. And I started to walk again, right? Okay. Slowly. I mean, real slowly. My big accomplishment was like after 3 weeks of doing it, I walked 100 feet. That was my big accomplishment. Next week, I added another 50 and then another 100. And they took me off of that floor and put me to a floor where I could be more functional once I was actually standing and walking on my own. And then from that, I had to go to therapy in a different hospital. Well, a different same hospital, different building. And they pretty much were like, "Don't get out of bed unless you call us," and all that. But after a while, I was feeling good, so I was letting them know I'm gonna get up and go to the bathroom. But they were like, "No, wait." So I would wait, but I would stand up by the bed and like, we told you to wait. I said, I know you did, but I'm telling you, I could walk. Just come walk with me. So after a while, they were like, okay, you good to go because they had an alarm on the bed. So even if I put my feet on the ground, that alarm was going to go off. It was going to go off. And a lot of physical therapy, a lot of physical therapy, same food every day. Just they had me on some dietary restriction, even though I told them I don't need it. I know what I'm eating, right? Hey, happy birthday, brother. Thank you. So yeah. Uh I didn't get out of therapy till November. I left the hospital, funny enough, November 5th, election day. And then I had to go someplace else. And funny enough, a week after I got out of therapy, I was in a car accident on the 12th of November. So that happened. And then uh, I'm restricted. I can't lift more than 30 pounds right now. So I was feeling good and I went to physical therapy here. Uh, and I was just feeling good. And then what happened? Nothing, actually. Everything was going good. And here I am, 225, 54 years old. And I'm staying at around 199, 203 now. That's the weight I stay at. Indeed. So happy birthday to me. And I remember those days. You know, that picture you see of me and my three sons is one of my favorite pictures. I can't tell you the last time I saw all three of them together. So I've been in and out the hospital so much, and we in different states. But we FaceTime, and I get to see the grandbaby and all that. So I'll be seeing them again very soon. I want to start making sure they work their way down here. But as I told them, you get in your own place, man. You in your mid 20s. What you gonna do living with your daddy? No, get your own place and start getting working on your dreams. You got the time, you got the energy, make it work. Make it work. Don't. And we're gonna take another version of that picture we took. The only difference is the grandbaby gonna be in there this time, you know. But make it work, baby. But in this life, I realized that I was never I could be a father, but I never take charge like that. But I never took charge of my own life. I wasn't very patient. I didn't think with a tactical mind. I was the one who would jump off the cliff without a parachute because I just had a feeling that I would land all right at the bottom. Not all the time. That's how I broke my leg twice. No, I didn't jump off a cliff. I just jumped in life, made my moves too fast. Ended up breaking my leg twice and all that. Broke it. Had my collarbone broken. I had my jaw broken for a while. Imagine me not talking. You know. But as I get older, I gain the wisdom to say, I'm not afraid to say, Lord, I definitely need you. I'm your son and you're my father, and I need help. I need help, and I'm humble enough to say that. I sat in that hospital bed in 24, 2024, October. I was in there for about 50 days straight, and I was immobilized from my neck down. I couldn't walk, couldn't really move because I had so much fluid on me. And people had to change me and wash me up every day. And you learn to be humble. You learn to be humble. If you don't learn to be nothing, you gain that inner strength to be humble, man. And yeah. So nowadays I move at a certain pace, and I make sure I say my prayers every morning, even if it's just thank you, Lord. And then I I say, Lord, it's time for me to walk in my wealth, you know, and it's that time. You don't need to beg. I come from wealth and I'm your son. So hey, you give me a sign and I'll follow. And then I just be humble. I just be quiet. Women come, women go. I think a lot of it is me. It was hard for me to show my emotions, man. Just difficult. And that's a turn off after a while. I can't show somebody all of me, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. That's what this is for. This is therapy for me, or therapeutical, however you want to do it. Having my sons come on here and talk to me straight up. My daughter was on here. She talked to me straight up. I can't wait to get my grandbaby on here. She gonna talk. She only 4, but she don't think she 4. She thinks she 44. Strong little thing too. She's doing gymnastics and she's only 4. She could flip and lift herself up on the rings. Amazing child. She's gonna be something special. Indeed, she is. But yeah, I just wanted to pop on today and say out loud that I was so happy for this just another year to say thank you, Lord. And I ain't ashamed to say it. Thank you, Lord. Because believe me, when people say they didn't have to be here, I didn't have to be here. Most people would have gave up in that 2-year stretch I told you about with the heart pump, the corroded pump, and then the heart transplant. Most people probably wouldn't have been able to fight through all that. Because right there, that was 2 open heart surgeries, right? From 22 to 24. That was 2 open heart surgeries right there. And then it was a heart transplant. That's a lot to deal with, baby. That's a lot. So all I can say is thank you. And I mean that too. Trust me, I don't go overboard with nothing. Like next month, I'm gonna make my own pizza for myself. That's about it. I'll probably make myself a pineapple upside down cake or something. But I'm gonna make it. I'm not gonna buy it. So I'm gonna put all the natural ingredients and all that in there. I'm going back, put myself back on a certain eating a certain way. I'm gonna get my wraps and eat spinach and arugula and eat wraps for like a week maybe and just flush out my system with you know, all greens for maybe a week. I usually just do vegetables for 4 days, but I think I'm gonna do it for a whole week. I haven't made soup in a while either. I think I'm gonna start making some vegetable soup. I've been on a journey and back, man. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I just want to say I've been on a journey. I've been somewhere that got maybe the good Lord said I was supposed to go there. But your body will heal, but your mind takes longer than to bring itself back because going through so much brings you back memories. Going through stress shocks your mind back and has you remembering things you thought you'd never remember. That was amazing to me that I could remember things from when I was 10, 11, things I never thought about. Obviously, I'm 54, so but I was starting to remember, and they were verified by family members. They said, "Yeah, we tried to remind you, but you buried them so deep you couldn't remember them." But I'm gonna make this a little short one today because I just want to kind of reminisce and sit quietly. And then tomorrow, I'll let today be the last day of my birthday. But I just want to sit quietly for a little bit. I want to come on and do a little half an hour show and just speak on some things. But let me say this: if somebody out there or or maybe people that's going through something, they could have cancer, they could be dealing with this, could be dealing with that. Don't you surrender to the doubt. I don't give a damn what the doctor says. He doesn't control your destiny. He doesn't. Let me tell you, share something else with you. My second son is 23 and he's 6'6". When he was in the womb, the umbilical cord wrapped around him, he almost died. And then they called, I had to rush back to the hospital with my wife at the time. And they told us he was going to be born handicapped. He probably wouldn't be able to walk or do anything. I told the doctor, he said the doctor told us we might as well have an abortion. It'll probably be better for the child. I looked that German doctor in the face and I said, you know what? You have your science and I have my God. I'm not killing my son. He said, but I said, but nothing. See, if I wasn't there, because when you're pregnant and your emotions are all over the place, you hear something like that, she probably would have agreed to it. And she was like, what are we going to do? I said, have faith and don't worry about it. I'm not leaving. I'm here. Whatever comes, we go through it together. And she said, I don't know if I'm strong enough to go through it. I said, well, you know what? I'm here with you. We'll go through it together. Ain't nothing more to be said. Nothing. And I meant that with everything in me. Yeah. Well, rather sometimes in the medications, I had to find out what every single medication did and what were the side effects because a lot of that stuff is addictive. That's why I don't do painkillers. And let me tell you something. It's not that I'm a tough guy or playing tough. If they tell me to take 20 milligrams of this painkiller, I tell them give me five. I'm not doing 20. Because how many people do you know that have left the hospital addicted to painkillers? They always want to give me the patch. I'm like, no, because that will go straight through your bloodstream. Mm-mm, no. I mean, how many times I was in that hospital and I was just in pain, but I had to fight through it. I had to, numbing pain. I mean, to the point where I was crying, right? But I didn't fall. I didn't. I couldn't. I wouldn't. And I refuse to let them take my mind. I lose my mind, I lose my life. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. That's who I am. I gotta keep my mind straight. Got to. And with that being said, I got what? About a minute and change on here, and then I'm gonna bounce off. Like I said, I'm only doing a little short thing because I wanna sit down and meditate for a bit and then take a nap and just be thankful for this life. Because my mom told me when I was leaving for the military, they told me, she said it when I was 6 years old that the doctor told her I was going to die when I was 12, right? Uh, but now she's telling me no. They told me when you were 2 years old, you wouldn't live to see 12. That's how God works. The doctor, who's a man, tells you one thing. The Almighty has other plans for you because I'm 54. So how do they explain that other 52 years of life that they didn't promise me? Hmm? They don't. I'll let them tell you whatever. Most important thing I learned on this journey, which is many years in the making, don't you ever go to your doctor's office and not know what's wrong with you. It's their job to tell you why. When you walk in there with your head high and tell them what is wrong with you, then they could do their test and diagnose you, and they'll tell you they should agree with you because nobody should know your body better than you. Because this is what happens when you don't know what is wrong with you. The doctor will do what he does, check your chest and take the breathe, turn this way to that way, ask you a few questions, goes on the paper, scribble something down, says take this to the nurse, she'll tell you what pharmacy to go to. Can you read it? No. But how in the hell can the pharmacy read it? Hmm? I've always wondered that. How could the pharmacy read it, but you can't? How could the nurse read it, but you can't? Most pharmacists said they just know but no, no, it's not legible. So how you gonna tell me what it is? They just give you something and say, "Hey, take this 3 times a day or whatever." That don't happen with me. My doctors ask me, "Do I want to take a new medicine?" Usually, it's no, because I always ask for the side effects. Because I was taking one medicine and I'd be sitting in a chair just like this, and I would fall asleep. Literally, I would pass out and fall forward. That's why I don't have wood floors. I would be knocked out. Can you imagine that? You're just sitting there chilling. You took that medicine. It's Aliquis. I can't do it. I cannot do it. But I don't take it anymore. I stopped it on my own. I don't ask questions when I don't need to. But look, it's 7:30. It's not 7:30. It's 7:02. I've been on for 30 minutes. I'm gonna go meditate and just be thankful for this journey, man. I appreciate it, Lord. Let me tell you, I appreciate it. I'm on my way to building generational wealth, and so are my children. I told them I'm not dying until I see you become good men who accomplish great things. Other than that, I'm sticking and staying. Thank you, one and all, for giving me your time. And hopefully, thank everybody that will watch the replay. And just bless you, man, and live a happy life. Don't have no one take that away from you. Okay? So bless up and thank you. I'll see you again on Wednesday and then Friday. I might have a special guest for you on Wednesday or two. But all right, bless you and thank you. This is driving me crazy.